Hi everybody, so this is part 2 of our Q&A video. Hope you enjoy it. I don't know where we're up to, I don't know what questions I've been answering. But anyway, let's crack on without further ado with the first question. So a number of you have been asking how I've been getting on with this car. I've done a couple of updates on our blog, which if you haven't read, they're quite moaning, they're quite whingy. But let me just paraphrase what the current feeling is with this car. Up until very, very recently, and I mean within weeks, I really hated this car. Absolutely detested it. There was a number of big ticket problems with this car, apparently quite common for this car, this age and this model, which all of the problems this car had, including the broken blower fans and resistor network, including the throttle body, and there's a couple of other little issues as well. I think the previous owner didn't really look after this car. Although it's got a full service history, there is a number of things on this car which still just, the mind boggles. Every single light cluster at the back of the car has had to be taken out. I've replaced every single bulb, and still the car moans that there is a broken bulb somewhere in the car. I've checked the wiring extensively and I can't find the fault. There's a number of other issues as well with it, but that said, for the times that we've been towing, it's been really good. It does tow very, very nice. The first time we towed, however, wasn't so nice because it was only doing 17 miles to the gallon. And I could not get over how low the fuel consumption was. Speaking to other members and other people of the owners group, they seem to agree that, you know, the fuel consumption is pretty bad on these ones. But a couple of people did suggest I try some fuel additives, and I did try this one. I've just bought another one of these actually for Angela's car. This one here is a 5-in-1 fuel additive for diesels, and I put this into our car, into this one, and it gave me about 7 miles per gallon extra in the running. And in actual fact, in the end, it gave me quite a few extra miles in the tank of fuel that I put into it. It was actually really quite a noticeable difference. I've never used additives before. I've never been fond of them. I've always thought it was a bit like snake oil, you know, is a bit Emperor's Clothing, that sort of thing, that you put it in and you go, oh yeah, I feel the difference immediately. I put it in, I felt no difference until about 2 or 3 days later. And in fact, it was Angela that said, what have you done to the car? It feels a lot more pokey. It feels very good. It obviously is running a lot smoother. Tom noticed the sound of one of the injectors had quietened down considerably. So all of these people are telling me these things, and I hadn't told them that I put fuel additives in. So take from that as you will. If you're interested in this one, by the way, I'll put a link to this in the description below. So, are we going to keep it? I don't know. There's still a few things wrong with this car. The big problem I've got with it at the moment is the tow bar and the tow bar electrics. You're going to see some content based on this in coming videos, but right now I've got to work through those problems. I'm probably just going to say balls to it and get myself another tow bar, but right now I'm trying to resolve some of those issues that we have with the car. Den999 Sol 111, that's a handy title, isn't it? They've asked, out of all the holidays you've both had, where's the one place you love the most? I can answer this for Angela. She's not here at the moment, she's working. Hers would be Exbridge Lakeside. I know that because she loves that site, and to be fair, I like it down there as well. I think we've answered this one before actually. I think my favourite site is Bracelands in the Forest of Dean, and that's because it brings back memories of my childhood. We used to go there a lot, and so I like it for those reasons. Plus also you're surrounded by fantastic trees that just smell incredible. I think those are our favourite sites. However, we are adding to that list all the time, and maybe one day we might go back and revisit our top favourite sites, and maybe do a top 5 or something like that on our favourite sites and the reasons why and the things to do in that area. If you like that idea, let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure we can put something together for you. Andy R writes, following your dismay at the poor quality wheel lock that you broke when trying to move your Caravan, yes, thank you Andy, did you get any feedback from the manufacturer? Yes, I did. Sat in a car at the moment because there's people walking around. I don't want them to hear what I'm saying. So I'm sweating a little bit, sorry. Yes, I did. Purple Line is the company in question to deal with that wheel lock. And after I put the video live, they got in contact with me, and I had a couple of very interesting and frankly productive meetings with them, all on the phone, and they were really, really good. I think if I was to be absolutely honest with you and really fair with you, there are some companies that couldn't care less if you broke their product. They just wouldn't like it that you've said something bad about their product. Purple Line actually responded in a very positive way. They acknowledged it broke, but they also questioned in what the manner it broke. Was it because of misuse? Well, yes, I misused it. Did it do what it was supposed to do? Well, no, it gave up quite quickly. But is that because it wasn't put together properly? And the answer is yes. They did agree with me that there is a trade-off between brittle and bendy when it comes to hardened steel. So that trade-off is a fighting point. Which way do you go? Do you make it so it's brittle, so it snaps and shears, or do you make it so it bends a bit before giving up? And if you look at the evidence and the Baltic question, it did bend. So there is that flexibility in it. So it did try to do as much as it could when it broke. The conversations I had with them were very, very interesting. And I think we all came away from the meetings with an understanding that actually the biggest problem was not that it broke, it was the understanding that I allowed it to break. And by that, I mean that I didn't see that the bolt was actually still engaged in the lock. So they came up with a couple of ideas. I chipped in and came up with a couple of ideas on how to make sure that that is very visible. So either painting it a luminous bright orange or attaching that somehow to the locking plate, so you can't walk away with the plate like I did. So the two are very much locked together. A couple of ideas, and those are still in the motions. So as far as an update, this is as far as I'm going to go with it at the moment. But when something does happen, I will create a video updating everybody as to what happened, how it happened, why I allowed it to happen, and also what Purple Line have put in place to make sure that you don't suffer with that going forward. Here's a nice question from Tina Cook. Why do you think caravans are so popular? Is it back to the basics thing? This one's made me think a little bit out the box actually, Tina, because I think there is some element of truth. When we first published one of our holiday vlogs, I think it was Devon, when we went to Exbridge Lakeside, when we first put those vlogs out of us on holiday, we had so many lovely comments and so many people respond to it because it was harking back to an innocent time of pure family involvement. Because anybody that's got a family of children who are a little bit grown up now will understand that the kids go off to their own room, they do their own thing, you spend very little time together, they're always on their phones, you're either watching TV, you know, it's a bit of a, the family unit is not what it was 20, 30 years ago. And I think when we put our video up of us in Devon, people responded so warmly to it, like, that's exactly what we need to do in our life, because they're a family, they get on, you know, they're together, they're enjoying the old style holidays, you know, of family being together, going down to the beach, having a ginger beer and lashings of whatever else, you know, it harks back to an innocent time. And I think going back to basics and family reforming, I think, are two very strong candidates to why people are liking caravans. Obviously the pandemic helped, because that produced a market, maybe an unsustainable market of people who couldn't go abroad on holidays, so they decided to grab a caravan and stay in the UK, or a tent or a motorhome. You know, they started camping in the UK. Now, lots of those people will have sold up and gone back to Jamaica for 2 weeks, for a year. Some of those people have discovered that they really enjoy it and are going to be upgrading their outfits, their units, whatever it is that they have. And some people will maintain that holiday style as a secondary type of holiday. So I think the popularity is borne by that, and also at the moment it may be going through a bit of a renaissance period of it's cool to be camping. And I think that all of those things coupled together really have helped the boost in the caravanning, motorhome, touring, camping industries. I think that's where it's all coming from. Big Nose 13 has written, have a great break. If money no option, what caravan would you buy and why? Thanks, Simon. Simon, that's a great question. If money was no option, what would we buy? We've actually had this fantasy conversation at home. I'm sure many people do. You know, what would you buy if no option, etc. Honestly, I think it would be a Bailey, but the question is, would it be a unicorn or would it be a Porto, an Alicanto Porto? The differences between those are a couple of spec levels, obviously, but the Porto being 8 foot wide and the unicorn being 7'5". And the question is, which one would we get? And I think we would be quite happy with the unicorn. In fact, I know we'd be very happy with the unicorn. Certainly the Pamplona. I think it's the Pamplona. I forget. It's the twin axle version of what we have. A lot bigger, a lot more space, a lot more refined, and a few more gadgets, etc. And I think it'd be the Series 5 as well, because we really did love that one. And I think that would be our caravan. When we swapped from the Luna to the Bailey, we really did fall in love with the way that the Bailey makes us feel. It makes us feel at home. It makes us feel relaxed, and it feels homely. I know other people get that same feeling from other manufacturers, and that's fine. We nearly bought a Swift when we bought the Bailey. We very, very nearly went down that route, but in the end we just sat in the one we wanted, which was a 635, I think it was at the time. It was the twin axle rear bed, you know, in the boutique bedroom at the back, and we just thought it just doesn't make us feel, it didn't give us that feeling, that fizz, you know, that you just, it's an indescribable feeling, an emotion. And I know plenty of other people do get it with, you know, with a Swift or with an Adria or with a Coachman, etc. But I'll be honest with you, everything that I've sat in, I don't get that feeling from anything else than a Bailey, to be honest with you. Although that said, if Luna was still going around, I think I'd be still inclined to sit in Luna, because I did love our Luna and I do miss it dearly, because it had that relaxation, calm feeling inside that caravan. And I'm sure you guys get it from your own you know, home from home. But for us right now, Bailey just makes us, you know, feel nice. I'm not saying that our caravan's perfect, not by a long shot. There are a few things in it which I don't like. Most of those based upon what's come out since we bought it. Things like curved cabinets, lighter wood, etc. A few little refinements here, there and everywhere. But by and large, you know, we're still very, very happy with our caravan. Would we see ourselves swapping it over anytime soon? Well, up until recent events, we were thinking we were going to chop it in this year, but things haven't happened in the way that we want. The cost of living has gone through the roof. I haven't been really earning very much of recent months, as you're sure you'll be aware of. And so we just couldn't make the money work for us. So we've put that on hold. Maybe we'll look at that again in a year or two, and see how we get on. Now, since I put the first part up of the Q&A, and I mentioned what happened to the Morleys and Caravan Shorts, a couple of you asked the question, what happened to the Holliingberys? So I thought I'll address that now. Very sadly, the Holliingberys are no more. Damien and Kelly separated and are now quite firmly divorced. Really quite sad, and I will say this, I don't think any divorce, it goes well. Obviously, you're always going to get issues with any divorce, because you are separating a lifetime of memories, and when there's children involved, there's a lot of emotions that run high. I just thank God I'm not getting divorced. I thank God that, you know, we don't go through it, because standing back and witnessing two people tearing each other apart, and the only people that gain from this is the solicitors, and sadly the only people that suffer from this is the children. And I will say that it was possibly the most traumatic thing to stand back and watch. It was awful. So sadly, the Holliingberys are no more. Kelly has moved on. She is now living in another part of the country, and Damien is still at home for the moment. and he has opened a CL, which I think some of you may be aware of, Old Mills Lane CL. It's on the network. It's also on CL Booking as well, if you're interested. It's on that app as well. And he's open and ready to accept bookings for anybody who is looking for an off-grid south of Bristol experience. The Holliingberys channel, as it stands, I think it's now done. It's dead. It's gone. But Damien has opened up a second channel that he's updating. I don't think it's going to be frequent because obviously, you know, he's a busy boy. He's got work as well. But he'll be doing periodic updates, certainly with his droning and, you know, other things that he does in and around the farm. So, you know what? Just give him a follow. I'll put a link to his channel down below, and I'm sure he'd appreciate the feedback. And if you are inclined to go and stay with him, you know, go and book a couple of nights away with him, and I'm sure he'll be very grateful for that as well. Mark Hill has asked, my question is, are you still enjoying your gin? No, Mark, I'm not, sadly. I haven't drunk any gin for quite some time. I physically cannot enjoy alcohol anymore. If I do have any alcohol, I am violently ill. And that's because of two reasons. Either it's down to my medication that I'm on at the moment, or it's down to my particular ailments which I'm suffering from at the moment. Either way, I cannot physically stomach alcohol. We went out with some friends back in March. I had some alcohol and I was violently ill that night. I mean, violently ill, and it wasn't pleasant. I had half a glass of red wine 2 weeks ago and I was violently ill. I just can't do it anymore, which is a shame because I really do miss my gin and tonics, unfortunately. Right, and that's it from me. That's it for this series of Q&As. I hope you have enjoyed it. I certainly have enjoyed making them. It's been great answering some of your questions, and it's been really lovely reading some of the comments as well. I don't know if I'll do one of these so soon because I don't want this to be a channel of just updates and Q&As, but you know what? We'll do another one in a few months' time, I suspect. I remember my first car as well. So that's it from me today. Please do hit the subscribe button, hit the notification icon. It starts. And if you could do all of that, then I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.